Like most people who have lived in and spent time in coastal Louisiana, this is one of those places where actual landscape change takes place before your eyes. I've seen places that had been swamp die. I've seen oak trees die from salt. I've seen places disappear. I've experienced the changing landscape in a way that normally takes generations, and we're seeing it all in one generation.
Along with the landscape, the wetlands, our community has drastically changed as well, especially after Hurricane Ida. We've lost schools, libraries, community centers, places where people would gather. Houses are gone.
Louisiana is experiencing a coastal land loss crisis. Our coast changes every single day, and I think we see that on the ground. Anyone who spends any time out on the water, exposing our communities more to open water, to the effects of storm surge, losing habitat for important wildlife in Louisiana.
So I'm from the Pointe-au-Chien Indian community, and Pointe-au-Chien is located in Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes in the Terrebonne Basin. It's actually the fastest eroding basin in the United States. We live off of the land. Everything that you need can be taken from the land. Everything from the houses you live in, the food you eat, the food you grow, everything you need is provided. However, since the coast is eroding due to man-made causes, without the input of the people who live there, it's really had a detrimental impact on the ability to live the same way.
It's going to take a coordinated effort to fix those challenges. Along with having the scientists and the information that they bring, it's also really important to have our local folks involved in these projects, because nobody knows the land and water better than our fishermen who live on the water.
One of the most important things that we do at the beginning of a master plan process is to work with communities and experts from across the coast to identify new project ideas that we should test in our models.
For the new project solicitation period of the master plan, anybody from the state of Louisiana or really anywhere can submit ideas to us. What we're really interested in is learning what problems and areas of need exist that our coastal residents and practitioners and landowners know and recognize and have project solutions for.
It's a complicated coastline. What might work on one part of the coastline doesn't even work, a mile and a half away, right? Because of different topographies, different water drainages, all kinds of differences. So these projects have to be coordinated, have to be in sync with each other, so that way, we're not just building up one area and destroying another.
Louisiana had to really start to think about how these things work together, that it's not protection over here and restoration, it's how these things work together and how you create and select a suite of restoration and protection projects that create best benefit so that their whole is greater than the sum of their parts to protect and restore our habitat and protect our communities overall.
Anybody can submit a project. If you can see a problem around the coast that you think could be solved with a restoration project or a flood risk reduction project, then you are qualified to submit a project. Any projects that make it through screening, they become candidate projects. Our candidate projects are the ones that we test in our full suite of models to see what their benefits would be compared to a future without action. And the most competitive projects from that process wind up being included in the master plan.
One of the best things about our coastal master plan process, it's not just these scientists off in this realm doing it all by themselves. It's actually working with the communities to understand what their needs are, what their challenges are here, now, and what they see in the future.
The community lives in this space. They may not all be trained, masters or PhD students knowing the terminology, but they have a deep lived experience of understanding the way that their waterways work, the way the basin works, what's happening in the fishery. They might notice something and see the change that's happening afterwards. So those are the eyes on the ground. Those are the boots in the water. So getting their feedback and their understanding into the science, adding that in, only adds to our own resiliency. So having that piece is incredibly important.
At the end of the process, the master plan is more than just a list of projects. It's a set of priorities about where we want to go as a coastal zone in the state of Louisiana.
Once the master plan has been approved and adopted, it serves as a roadmap that helps us work together to turn our passion for this place into meaningful action. It helps practitioners at all levels work as a team to fund and implement projects that we can be confident will have a positive outcome for our future.
We know that we have historic rates of land loss. We know we have really extreme levels of flood vulnerability and risk exposure. And these projects are about both restoring that coastal habitat, but making sure that it's a place that Louisianans can continue to live and work in, not just now, but in many decades into the future.